everyone. Welcome to the Sold Out and Profitable Retreats Masterclass. I am Lainey. I'm so excited to see all of you. If you can have your camera on, that will be absolutely amazing. But if you can, that's also okay. And we have some people still joining in, but I am going to begin so we can have this amazing space. So thank you so much for being here today and for giving yourselves the opportunity to see what building a six-figure retreat business could look like for you. Please let me know in the chat if you have ever hosted retreats or that's a dream of yours, because this masterclass is also tailored based on where are you at in your business. So welcome to the Sold Out and Profitable Masterclass. I just want you to take in a deep breath with me. I want you to just slowly inhale and slowly exhale. Thank you for being present with me. Okay, so Stephanie is looking to host first retreat this year. And Carrie, you've had successful retreats in the past, but this last one was extremely difficult to get sponsors and attendees for the first time ever. Yes, the retreat market has changed and shifted. That's probably why, but we'll see. We might be able to figure out throughout today. Isn't that great? All right. So you've probably been to plenty of trainings that gave you inspiration, but no real plan. This also happens inside of the retreats, by the way. Yeah, we go to a retreat, it has this moment of bliss. We feel absolutely amazing, and then there's no way we integrate it into our lives. So then we go back to our day-to-day lives. And then what happens afterwards? Nothing happens. Type a yes in the chat if you've ever had an experience like that. Maybe on a masterclass, or may it have been in a retreat where things came, some things shifted, but then later on, nothing happened. So I want this experience for you to be different. Yeah. Today, you're going to see how to turn retreats into a six-figure business model that sustains your purpose, your clients, and you. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to close the window because there's a lot of noise. And you can email me if you want to read. We don't send them automatically. So, Stephanie, yes, you have had that experience. Anyone else has had that experience of being on a masterclass, being on a group coaching course, being on a retreat? It sounds amazing. You get super, super inspired, and then nothing. Crickets. We come back with all these intentions. Karen, yes. The same thing happens actually, by the way, with intentions for the new year. Do you know that actually 90% of the intentions that we put out there behind the scenes every single year when we start, we never accomplish them? And it's because we do not have a system, a path for them to become part of our life, part of every single thing that happens every day. And I'm very, very excited because the way I like to see businesses is they're a living entity and they're an extension of who you are. And because of that, that business model is particularly created for you. It's not about going and copying someone else who seems that might be doing absolutely amazing outside in the world, but it's about finding that business model that works for you. So before we dive in, I want you to know this. 9 out of 10 women who book a clarity call with me after this masterclass walk away saying, I should have done this a long time ago. And it's because that call will show you exactly what is missing in your retreat model. Okay. So over the next couple of hours, I am going to show you exactly how to design, price, and sell retreats that can add 100,000 or more into your business within 12 months. Give me a heart in the chat if you're excited about seeing how you can design, price, and sell retreats that can bring six figures to your life in the next 12 months. That means by January 2027, six figures are part of you. And if at any time today you start thinking, I want to know if that's possible for me, I want you to drop in the chat, I can. Because you can. Yeah. Before I ever built my own business, I was at the top of my corporate game. Yeah. So I worked for world-class brands like Marriott and the Ritz-Carlton. I managed and launched loyalty programs that reached more than 11,000 associates, rebranded restaurants that boosted revenue by 30%, and ran global campaigns with multi-million-dollar budgets. And on paper, it was everything I thought I wanted. Yeah. And here's what most people didn't see. I was climbing a ladder that didn't feel like my own. I had the titles, the travel, the 5-star lifestyle. I mean, I was living in Dubai, yeah. But I was not fulfilled because I was helping other companies grow. Other companies make millions of dollars. But I was not creating something that felt like my purpose. And that's the moment where the shift actually came. Yeah. I started saying yes to retreats. And at first it was about curiosity and finding out who I was. And for 6 months straight, I went to one almost every weekend. And then it happened. I joined a women's retreats that completely transformed me. It was 13 women in a circle. There was laughter, tears, truth. And my whole perspective changed. At the end, I asked the facilitator when the next one was happening. And she told me she was not doing it again because they barely made any money. And in that moment, everything clicked. Because retreats are not just about yoga schedules or healing. They're real businesses. Transformation and profit can and must coexist. That's when I left my corporate job and founded the Retreat Planner. And that's why you're here today, right? So you can keep changing lives and keep funding your dream business again and again. Now, the truth is that retreats and wellness tourism is not a small niche anymore. That's why, Perry, you've probably seen that your retreats were easier to sell in the past, and now it feels a little bit harder. Yeah. The global wellness tourism market hit $995 billion last year and is projected to reach 3.3 trillion by 2034. 3.3 trillion. I bet yes in the chat if you want a slice of that pie. Debbie, yes. Anyone else wants a slice of that pie? $3.3 trillion. Yes. Okay. Sharon, absolutely. Stephanie, yes. Karen, yes. Yes. And you deserve a slice of that pie. Yeah. And profitable retreat hosts can see between 40 to 50% net margins. And with a structured sales campaign and loyalty marketing, that is customer relationship management, you can see 30 to 50% more bookings than with organic posting. The opportunities are enormous. The question here is, are you treating your retreats like a business that can scale? And tell me in the chat, business, if you're actually treating your retreats like a business. And if you have not hosted retreats, if you're treating your coaching business, your yoga sessions, right? Anything that you do in your business, are you treating it like a business or are you treating it like a hobby? Be very honest with yourself. Be very honest with yourself. Are you treating your business like a business or like a hobby? David Lynch is A Business in Motion. Love it. Nice to see you. Anyone else? I know this is a hard question. Am I treating my business like a business or like a hobby? Let me tell you about Tina. Yeah, she was an incredible coach. And I'll tell you that I'll tell a lot of stories throughout this masterclass because we learn better through stories. And I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of these women and men who have been hosting retreats, right? Put yourselves in their shoes and ask yourself, how does this apply to me? Because it's not just about learning and stories and having fun. It's about saying, how does this apply to me? Is this me? Have I been acting this way? And what could I do to actually change it? Hi, Thane. Nice to see you again. Okay. So Tina, yeah, she was an incredible coach. Yeah. Her clients adored her work. And for 10 years, she said, one day I'll host a retreat. Has anyone had the dream of hosting a retreat for more than a year? Yeah. She waited for 10 years of thinking she had to be more to be ready. Have any of you felt that way? I need another coaching program. I need another certification. Have you ever been there? And when she finally decided to follow the system, the one I'm teaching you today, yeah, she built her pricing, her profit plan, and her sales. Her very next retreat sold out in days. Now she runs multiple retreats a year, and they fund her family's entire lifestyle. And Tina's story is not the only one like this. But her story reminds us that the cost of waiting is always higher than the cost of deciding. So if you ever dream of hosting a retreat that transforms lives and creates consistent income, I want you to type a yes in the chat. Let's fill the room with that energy that says, yes, I can. Yes, I can change people's lives. Yes, I can create consistent income. Yes, Debbie. Yes, Karen. Yes, Thane. I see you. Yes, Tijana. Yes, full throttle client solutions. You belong in this room. You belong in this room. Now that you know why you're here, right, and that retreats can be both purpose-driven and profitable, let's open the first chapter. In the next section, we're going to be looking at exactly what a six-figure retreat model looks like, the simple math behind it, and how coaches like you are using it to create real, repeatable income. Are you ready? So we've all felt that spark. The moment you picture your retreat, the beach, the group circle, the tears, the laughter. But most people stay there in the dream. Today, I want to show you what happens when you turn that dream into a business model. Because when you understand the system, you realize that 6 figures is not luck, it's design. So I want you to type me in the chat if you ever said, one day I'll host a retreat. That'd be me. Okay. Sharon, me. Karen, me. Anyone else? Tijana, me. Perfect. So let's decide that today, this one day starts now. Let's just make a decision right now in this moment. One day starts now. So a few years ago, my team hosted a retreat in Mexico with Dr. Joe Dispenza as our guest teacher. Does anyone know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? 72 participants flew in from around the world. The energy was electric. The venue, stunning. Yeah. But when we initially ran the numbers before opening registration, the speaker fee alone was massive. Massive. And most people would have said, there is no way this can be profitable. And we applied the 6-figure retreat system, designed the experience for profit, priced every seat accurately, and built the campaign that filled the room weeks ahead. We actually sold out the 72 tickets in 3 weeks. And it was an invitation only event. Isn't that crazy? Now, that single retreat brought in $100,000 in profit after paying Dr. Yo, and it led to over $3 million in back-end sales. I know, $3 million in back-end sales. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to be aware that anything is possible. And that's really when I knew that transformation and profit are not opposites. They are partners. So if that kind of possibility gets you excited, I want you to type partner in the chat. And I know this is a very interactive masterclass. I need to know that you're here with me. Partner. Sharon, partner. Now, another client came to me after hosting what she lovingly called a camp. Yeah. So she had the heart, right? We all have the heart. You all have the heart. Yeah. And she poured everything into creating a healing space. But she lost money. She had no system, no pricing strategy, no plan for sales. And you know what she told me? I thought passion was enough. Have you ever been there? Let me know in the chat. Have you thought passion is enough to have a thriving business? And I mean, passion is necessary, don't get me wrong. You can relate. It is necessary. But it does not mean that you only need that. Yeah. So we built her retreat system using the framework I'm teaching you today, right? Design for profit, price for profit, and sell for profit. Yeah. Her next retreat sold out in 72 hours. Can you believe it? And it actually brought in $24,000 in profit with the same number of guests. And what she told me was, I finally have proof that the structure created freedom for me. So type freedom in the chat if you want that for yourselves. Freedom, Debbie. Tijana, Sharon, Katrina, Full Throttle Client Solutions. Full Throttle Client Solutions, can you tell me your name? Because I want to call you by your name, if that's okay. Katrina, oh, yes, Sharon, Karen, Anita, perfect. Thank you, Anita. Okay. Amazing. Okay. But now also, I want to tell you about another woman because not everyone wants a profitable retreat, okay? So when I spoke to her, because I'm always asking people when they, especially when they post, I sold out my retreat, I always send them a private message and I ask them a couple of questions because I always want to know what's happening out there in the market. Yeah. So she told me she hosted 13 retreats. And her guests loved her. She was like, oh my gosh, people love coming to my retreats. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. She was living her dream. But when I asked her how much profit she made, she told me about 500. And I asked her 500 per attendee. And she told me 500 per retreat. That was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow. Imagine putting all those hours of work, energy, love, and making $500. You're basically paying people to come to your retreats, if I'm being very honest. Now, I asked her, would you like to earn more? Right. And she smiled and she told me, no, I don't want to run a business. I just want to share my heart. And that is beautiful in its own way, but it's a different path. Yeah. So I share this with love. If you're here today, it's because you're not meant to give everything away. You're meant to create retreats that change lives and create abundance. Because when you profit, you can serve longer, reach more people, and give from overflow. Mia, that's your issue. You don't profit fully of any retreat. Well, today is the day when that changes. Just claim it, own it. Today is the day when that changes. I want you to type abundance in the chat if that's the kind of impact you are ready for. The impact that changes people's lives, but it also changes yours because you have an overflowing bank account. You can help more people. You can give back. You can give to charity. You can pay your mortgage. You can pay the school for your kids, whatever that means for you. You can travel the world. Abundance, yes. Perfect. Oof. So heavy. How many times have we undercharged ourselves just to be liked? Anyone in the room has done that? Because I have. I undersold myself to be approved by others, to be liked, because I thought, well, if they don't have money, but they really can change people's lives, then I can help them. And honestly, it was a disservice. So I'll tell you a very, very quick story here. So when I started doing my courses over 5 years ago, almost 6 now, about retreats, right? Running profitable retreats, because I was like, I can help people. I knew I could help people, you know? So I remember I had this mindset of, I'm going to have scholarships inside of my programs because there's people who really should be doing retreats, but they don't have the financial funds to pay for my courses. And I have to tell you, my courses at the beginning were very, very affordable. Like at some point, I had a course that was like $500, yeah. And still people could not pay $500. And guess what? I gave scholarships to all these women that I've been to retreats with that were absolutely transformational, right? They changed people's lives. They did not show up to the classes. And even one who had the access to the course that never showed up. Later on, she planned a retreat and she called me a week before her retreat. And I'll tell you a little bit about this story later, but she called me 1 week before her retreat and she was telling me that she was not making any money. That could have been avoided. Yeah. All right. Oof. That was some heavy stuff. Yeah. All right. So I want to teach you how 6 figures is just simple math. So let's look at how simple it can be. 2 retreats with 10 guests, $5,000 each, $100,000. And a VIP upgrade or a continuation offer, and you're over 150K. What? You do not need hundreds of people. You need the right structure and the right price. Profit is not a reward. It's the reflection of designing your business for profit. Huh? So if you're already thinking, I want to know my numbers and see how this could look like in my business, I want you to drop call in the chat. So my team later on will be able to reach out to you. And that call will be to figure out and map out your 6-figure retreat model and find your exact revenue path. Yeah, it's about clarity, right? Is it possible for me? And people keep coming in the room. That's exciting. Katrina. All right, so let me give you another example, right? I told you I'm going to tell you a lot of stories. Okay, Mia, yay. All right. Matt. So he was great at doing workshops. Yeah, he was full of passion. And he hosted his first event. 30 people signed up and only 5 showed up. He was crushed. Yeah, he was very, very upset. And when he implemented the system, right, because he was in one of my group programs, he planned his pricing, he built the campaign, he followed the steps. His next 3 retreats sold out. He took 21 people to Spain and had a wait list of 76 for the next one. His passion did not change. His passion did not change, but his structure did. And that's why he succeeded. You know, after he was part of the program, and then he came back and he sent me a message. He said, like, Lainey, your system really works. And I want that for you. I want that for you. Okay, so here's what we've seen so far. Passion without structure burns out. Yeah. Because we're running on fumes. Having a structure without your heart will fall flat. Yeah. You need both. So structure and a heart equals profit and impact. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to build that structure. The 3 pillars for the 6-figure retreat system: design for profit, price for profit, and sell for profit. Are you ready to see how the system actually works? Type a yes in the chat. I'm going to quickly share my screen because I want you to have a visual so you can remember it easily on how to build a 6-figure retreat business. Yeah. So we have design for profit. That's the first pillar that we're going to cover today. Then we're going to cover price for profit. And then we're going to cover sell for profit. The way this works is like this. We design for profit, and then we move to price for profit. And then from price for profit, we move to sell for profit. And then from sell for profit, we move back to design for profit because we want a rinse and repeat business. So we do not need to create everything over and over again. Does that make sense for everyone here in the room? Yeah, I see Sheena and Dr. April nodding. Perfect. Amazing. So now you know the triangle. Easy to remember. So I'm going to come back to that triangle over and over again as we go through this masterclass. Okay. All right, let's keep rolling. Okay, so you have seen what is possible. You've seen transformations, you've seen some of the numbers, you've seen the freedom. Now I want to show you what happens not by chance, but by structure. So every six-figure retreat business, like I told you, is built on 3 pillars. And I'm going to talk about them over and over again because I want you to really, really take them in. Yes? Design for profit, price for profit, and sell for profit. These 3 are what separates the dreamers, retreat dreamers, and I'm going to be talking about this a lot as well, from retreat CEOs. When you learn how to apply them, you stop chasing retreats and you start running a retreat business that pays you consistently. So type a yes in the chat if you want a business that pays you consistently. Yes, okay, we have some yeses here. Perfect. Ooh, all right. Yes, the yeses keep coming in. Dr. April and Katrina, Krisha, Karen, Sheena, Mia, Dr. April, Katrina, Karen, Jenny Lee. Yes, welcome, Jenny. No, people still coming in. Yes, Thane. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's go to pillar number 1, design for profit. And remember the triangle, yeah? So we're at the top of the triangle right now. This is where we are in the sense of our masterclass so far. Yeah. So with all my heart and being as kind and gentle as possible, I will tell you that most retreat leaders start with choosing a location or a theme. Have any of you done that? When you start thinking, oh, I want to host retreats, what is the first thing that you think of you need to know in order to plan that retreat? Sheena, yes. Do you ask yourself location? Lisa, you said location. Yeah, you're like, oh, I want to do a retreat in Costa Rica or in Bali. Yeah. Caribbean or Arizona. Okay. I'm going to teach you how that's not the way to start. So don't worry. And it has a reason behind it. So most people think, where should I host it? What should I include? What do I put inside the itinerary? Who can I bring as guest speakers? Right? But profitable retreats start somewhere completely different. They start with a structure that guarantees sustainability. So designing for profit means your retreat supports your life and your mission. Yeah. It does not drain it. Yeah. I'm going to say it again. Designing for profit means your retreat supports your life and your mission. Oof. Strong, right? And I'm gonna tell you something very off script right now, but I feel that it's something that needs to be said. So many times when we start thinking about our retreats and then we choose a location. So we're paying the venue first, right? And then we start selling our tickets and we do not have a profit plan because we're like, well, yes, if I make some money, it's going to be okay. This is the first one. It's fine if I lose some money, if I break even. And it's not, by the way. What you end up doing is you end up working for everyone else. You work up for the retreat venue or the Airbnb or the hotel, whatever location it is. You work for the chef that you hired. You work for the other facilitators that you hired to come to make your itinerary absolutely amazing. You work for the airline if you have to take a flight. You work for the insurance company. You're working for everyone else for yourself. You're making everyone else money but you. That's when we happen to design our retreat for the looks, the feel, instead of building and designing our business for us so we can actually show up and help people. And the only way we can do that is by having a profitable business. Have you been ever in that spot where you've been working for everyone else but yourself? Let me know in the chat. Sheena, yes. You're a nurse, an insurance agent. Insurance agent, perfect for retreats, by the way. And educates how to protect their income and build generational wealth. We'll talk a little bit about like niching down, and this is like such a great example already. Jenny, job on a daily basis. Can you claim today that you're not going to do that anymore? Anita, unfortunately, yes, you have. Thane, always, Keisha, Katrina. Can you see the trend here? Jenny, today you will no longer do that anymore. I love it. Yes, claim it, own it. It's yours. It's your birthright. You are in the right room because of that. There was a reason you were called in to come to this session. You saw the email, you saw the SMS. And you're here because there's something inside of this masterclass that you need to hear. That's it. There's something, one thing that will click. So are we ready to design our businesses for profit? And this is not just about retreats, it's about every single offer, because retreats are part of your business ecosystem. They're not meant to be separate. Yes, please. Yes. Okay. Thane, you're willing to receive your value. You deserve to receive your value. You deserve it. Again, it's your birthright. We're here in this world. It's a creator energy. It's part of our process in life to come and create. That includes prosperity, abundance, money, wealth. Yeah. All right. So one of my favorite examples is actually a client that I really, really love. And I call him my like adventurous client because he always does adventure retreats in that sense. They're absolutely amazing. And they're very, very specific. Now, when he came to work with me, like, of course, he had a heart, right? He had a community already. So that was also faster for him to grow his retreat business. I mean, I am not someone who's going to tell you you need to have thousands of followers on Instagram in order to actually have a profitable retreat business, because you don't. But he had a community and he had a vision. Now, his retreats were magical. Like, people cried, they reconnected, they left transformed. I mean, he takes people to do running camps in Kenya, and then he brings this amazing, like, specialized runner, right? Those who like win competence, and all these like awards and all these kind of things. And then they do have like recertification for their it's a physiotherapy business. So people came and they were changing their lives. It was doing absolutely amazing. But when we looked at his numbers, because I always look at the numbers, right? I realized that he was paying his facilitators more than he was paying himself while doing all the work. I already saw that a lot of you do that. It's actually quite common, but it's not okay. It's not normal. Yeah. It's not the way we run a business. So what happened to him? He was exhausted. He was underpaid. And he was wondering why something that looked so successful felt so heavy, because he used to sell his retreats. Like after we did a couple of changes, the retreats were selling fast, right? So we went and we redesigned his retreat. We simplified the format. We clarified the roles. We added these clear margins and upsell opportunities. Again, with one launch, he went from barely breaking even to taking $20,000 in profit for himself. That's what happens when you design with the numbers in mind, not after the fact. Okay, Mia, currently planning a retreat, and yes, doing it by yourself, you don't even get to enjoy the retreat itself. Yes, so it's okay to bring some additional facilitators into your retreat. I'm not saying it's not okay. It actually supports the process, and you need to, like, there's a whole thing about designing the itinerary to support the transformation and integration. But okay, I'll tell you another story that this is going to make sense. So I have an amazing friend that she is such a great musician and transformational sound healer. And one day I went and I asked for a quote from someone who had hired her to go and do something in a workshop. And I was telling her, I was like, oh, I got the prices for this like corporate retreat and this and that. And she's like, oh, he charges that much, but he only paid me this. Why would he just pay me a little piece of the sliver, right? She was a little bit confused and she was not very happy about it. And she was like, well, I'm going in and facilitating. And I said, like, well, no, my friend, because you're facilitating, but he's doing the sales, he's paying all the taxes, he's booking the venue, he's getting the clients, he's nurturing them, he's doing so much work. You're just showing up, doing your workshop, and then going home. And there's a difference between being a retreat leader and being a facilitator. So I want you to see the difference, right? Being a facilitator, and that's the place, right, where we put ourselves a lot. And I see this very often with retreat leaders. They are still in the mindset of, I'm a facilitator. I'm facilitating a retreat. They're not seeing it as, I am the CEO of my business. Can you relate? Type a yes in the chat. Or a no in the chat if you cannot relate. Shinaya. Yes. So I want you to change your mindset from being a retreat dreamer, a retreat facilitator, to becoming the retreat CEO of your business. Now, when you design for profit, you always need to know 3 things. Yeah. So I'm also going to put them in the chat so you have them. So when you design for profit, you always need to know your capacity. And we're going to do an exercise right now. So get your fingers ready on the keyboard. You need to know your capacity. How many guests can you actually serve without burnout? I remember I had a call with someone. We were guests on a podcast. And then after that, she came, in the podcast, actually, I told her, how many people do you want in your retreat? And she said, like 500. I said, like, can you really hold 500 people? So we went through this exercise to figure out her capacity. And guess what? It was 12 people. 25, Sheena, perfect. Okay. Now, Joanna, 30. Okay. Perfect. Now, you need to know your revenue drivers. The offers that actually generate revenue. Yeah, you need to know your revenue drivers. Where does the money can come from? And your margin guardrails. I'm going to explain this in case it's a little bit complicated. Your margin guardrails, it's basically the guardian. what is your minimum amount of money you need to make in order to actually host a retreat? So in that case, your margin guardrail sometimes will be, well, actually, my friend, you cannot have a cacao ceremony, a sound healing session, and you cannot bring this trauma-informed coach if you want to keep within your margins. When these are clear, yeah, your retreat becomes a system. We're not scrambling anymore. We're not trying to figure it out, see if it works. So your capacity, your revenue drivers, your margin guardrails. So when you design for profit, this is where your personalized business model comes into place, right? I told you earlier on that you're not meant to go copy someone else's retreat business model. It's not your own. It does not have your energy, and it does not consider your capacity and the dream business that you want to create. It really just doesn't. So when you design for profit, you need to think about your business model. And that's what you'll have an opportunity to book a call with me so we can find out your personalized business model, because guess what? It's personalized. So I cannot tell all of you amazing 28 people in the room about it if it's personalized. Yeah. And you'll have an opportunity to book a call with me a little bit later on down the road. But for now, we are going to move to pillar number 2. So I'm going to share again my screen just for a second. Yeah. So we were here. We were in design for profit, right? Remember our triangle? And we're moving towards price for profit. I want you to remember this triangle because it's a rinse and repeat model. I don't want you to have to create a new thing every single time you want to run a retreat. It does not make business sense. Big companies do not do that. They're not creating new things every single time. They're creating reiterations of it. Think about the iPhone, right? The iPhone, it's always the iPhone. They just create different versions of it. So people want to keep buying, right? New iPhones. They want to change them, right? Every single time. You're like, oh, I have an iPhone 15. 17 is out there. It has a better camera. So your business, your retreat business should have reiterations of your retreat. So rinse and repeat. I hope that was clear. All right. So pillar number 2, price for profit. Type a yes in the chat if you are excited about price for profit. Yes, Dr. April. Yes, Sheena. Yes, Lisa. Yes, Karen. Amazing. Okay, this is good that you're all excited about it, because guess what? Pricing is where most people lose money. Generally, we tend to think that we lose money on the sales part of the business because we're not selling enough. But the reality is that it actually happens most of the times in the pricing profit. Because when we're pricing for profit, it's a different mindset than when you're just pricing for the sake of pricing. Yeah. And the reality is that the biggest mistake is not because they're not smart, but it's because people price from emotion, not from math. And I want you to give me a heart in the chat if you've ever thought this, right? If these little voice has spoken to you, and it might say something like, what feels fair? What would people pay for? Yeah. What could my client afford? 100%. Yeah. Have you thought that? Is there any other question that comes to your mind? Type it in the chat. That little voice in our head that is ooh, drop your price because you know who's gonna buy from you. What we need to be asking instead is what keeps this sustainable? How can I help my clients in the best way possible so I can show up from a full cup, not an empty cup? And we'll learn more about that as we go through this. Yeah. And when you price for profit, you remove guilt, you remove guesswork, and you start making CEO decisions instead of hobby decisions. One of the things that I was speaking at the Sellout Retreat Summit that it was in October last year in San Diego, that by the way, next year we're hosting it here in Mexico. I was talking about this and I said, like, pricing with angel numbers is not a pricing strategy. Has any one of you ever put a price in one of your products? 111, 333, 444, 555. Any of you have done that? Just because everyone else out there is doing it and you think because you're putting up an angel number that people are going to be more keen to buy. No? Okay, good. Amazing. Pricing with angel numbers is not a business strategy. It's not. Okay. It's not. Yeah. Pricing the way other people price is not a pricing strategy. I see these over and over and over again. Oh, everyone else is charging $2,000, so I'm going to charge $2,000 too. Have you ever thought of that? This is what other people are selling it for, so I'll sell at the same price and then it will sell. I'll give you a quick example in like with math, with numbers, right? For this, so it makes a lot. So I want you to click in your brain, yeah? So when we see a retreat priced out there, right, we just see the front number, yeah? We just see the facing forward, right, the public facing number. And let's just imagine for a second that that price is $2,000. But we do not see their costs. So if they're selling a retreat for $2,000, but let's say their cost to run the retreat is $300, they have a profit per person of 1,700 people. So if they get 10 people to sign up or 20 people, right? So 10 people means $17,000 in profit. 20 people means $34,000 in profit. But if you're saying, I'm going to host retreats and I'm going to charge $2,000 because everyone else out there is charging $2,000, but your cost of running the retreat, it's $1,900. How many people do you need to make $34,000? 340 people instead of 20. Is this landing? Let me know in the chat. So we cannot make decisions based on comparison because we do not know the back end. Yes, Sheena is making sense. Anyone else? Lisa, true. Yeah. Katrina, yes. Maybe they own their own house where they run the retreats, right? So they don't have to pay rent or anything. Yes, the math does not lie. So I want you to stop comparing yourselves with everyone else and putting your pricing based on what the current market is showing. Because guess what? 80% of retreat leaders do not profit from their retreats. So what's happening behind the scenes is you are copying someone who might not be making any money. Sheena, burnout, yeah. So do you want to copy someone who's not making any money in their business? Let me know in the chat. Heck no. No, Katrina, no, saying no. Joanna, the emotional work of hosting in your home is not worth the time, equal money. Yes, ask me how I know. Yes, I mean, it's your space, it's your energy, right? There's so many things happening there. All right. Okay. I am glad to hear that most of you are not okay with copying someone who do you not know if they're actually making money behind the scenes. Yeah. All right, so because we're there, should we do a little math and learn a formula that will help you price for profit? All my math formulas for building a sustainable retreat business and a profitable retreat business are very, very simple because math is not designed to be complex for businesses. Yeah. So we're going to calculate what I call your profit floor. Yeah. Now we're going to have to assume a couple of numbers, but this will work because you can all run the numbers, and I'll actually run the numbers for some of you. So your profit floor is the minimum you must charge to be sustainable. This is the lowest price you charge. This equals your early bird, your price after discount. From your profit floor, you never go lower than that. And I'll tell you an example in a second about this. So it will, hopefully it will click. So I want you to write this down. And I'm going to put the formula in the chat for you as well. Yeah. So the profit floor formula is your total costs of running a retreat. And this is where we're going to make up a number, right? Plus divided by your number of guests, plus your desired profit per person. Yeah. This is equals your profit floor. You do not drop from that price. This number is sacred. It's your boundary. Because when you underprice, you're not just losing money, you're losing presence, you're losing authority. And you cannot hold space for transformation when you're silently worried about bills. So if that resonates with you, I want you to put in the chat, no more undercharging. Own it, claim it. It's yours to take. Katrina, no more undercharging. Claim it, it's yours. Yes, Karen, no more undercharging. Dr. April, no more undercharging. Joanna, I'm more overgiving, undercharging. Faye, no more undercharging. I love it. Okay. So one more story before we actually do the exercise. So another client, right? She became my client afterwards because of this, right? But she flew in from Australia to Mexico with 16 guests. Yeah. Oh, okay. No more overgiving and undercharging. Love it. Yes. Thank you, Joanna. All right. I was like, ooh, that didn't click. All right. So this client, she flew in all the way from Australia. You know how far away that is? It's far, right? Like I have not been there and I love to travel and I go to across the world. Yeah. So she came in with 16 guests. Now the retreat looked picture perfect. The theme, Wild Woman Retreat. The venue was beautiful, right? The itinerary looked absolutely amazing. But she had underpriced so badly that she couldn't even cover her own travel costs anymore. So halfway through the retreat, you know what happened? She mentally checked out. And her participants could feel it. They had paid for her full presence. They traveled across the globe, and she could not give it. And that's when she came and she was like, well, I need to work on my profit floor method, right? Because my pricing did not work out. She let her clients down because she didn't know how to do the math for her business. Because when you're worried about paying rent or eating or where you're going to stay, how could you actually give your full attention to your retreat attendees? It's impossible. Our reptilian brain goes into survival mode. Yeah, Mia, that was almost you last night. It happens, yeah. So her next retreat covered every cost and paid her enough to actually stay 3 extra weeks to rest. Profit is not about greed. It's about presence. Yes, Lisa, wow, I know. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do the profit floor exercise before we move to our next pillars. Yes, I know. Okay, profit floor formula. Let me bring it back into the bottom of the chat so you have it. So we're gonna have to make a couple of numbers here, but I want you to make up some numbers for yourself. Some of you already gave me your capacity. Yeah. So let's have, okay, there we go. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna make a couple of numbers in this space, and then we're gonna go and do some exercises for you, okay? And I'm gonna use some numbers from like previous retreats that I posted. Yeah. So I ran a retreat in San Miguel de Allende. It was a retreat to learn how to die. So very interesting, very niche specific retreat. And our total cost for the retreat was $30,000. Yeah. So that was the cost. So I'm gonna put it here. This is what it cost us to run the retreat. Learn how to die. Yes, exactly, Sheena. Now, the number of guests that we could have, our capacity, and the numbers of tickets that we sold was 12. Okay. So 13,000 cost divided by 12. So that's the first step that we're going to be doing. And I want you to start thinking about your numbers for a second. So I have my calculator here with me. And we're going to divide it. And we know that our cost for each person to come to this retreat, it was $2,500. Now I have to tell you, this was a beautiful, like Italian state. We had private chefs flying in. We had so many, like the expenses. And yes, so this one included the operational hours of time, not the profit. Yes. Yes. So this one, the $30,000 included that. Now, I have split that. And then in this case, and this is a profit floor, right? So this is an initial formula, right? There's more formulas behind the scenes, but this is the initial formula. And then in this one, we said we wanted to make just profit, right? Clean money afterwards. We wanted to make $2,000. Well, you can see the number is 4,500. So that was the selling price per ticket, our profit floor. This was early bird, discounted, fast action. This was the bottom number that we could charge anyone. Does that make sense with the profit floor formula? Let me know in the chat. Yes, Lisa. Okay, perfect. This is your profit floor. You do not drop from this. There's nothing underneath the floor. That's it. It's your base. Now, what I want to do here with you now is I want some of you, whoever feel like it, to put your numbers. If you do not know your cost, just make up a number for your costs. Put your capacity, how many people you want in a room, and how much money would you like to make per person. Yes, this is per person. Yeah, this is an exercise for you to know how much you need to charge per person, specifically minimum. So who wants to type their numbers in the chat? Okay, 3,500, is that your profit floor? I want us to do the math. So can you say, these are my costs, this is the number of people, and this is how much I want to make per person. Total costs, right? That means everyone. Like the cost of running the whole retreat, regardless if 8 people sign up or 10 people. You can make a number up for this exercise. Anyone else? I mean, this is your chance to see your numbers live. Okay, Jenny Lee, cost per person 960, minimum 16 people. How much do you want to make per person? Good question. Just make up a number, whatever feels good. $250. Okay, I'm gonna run your numbers, but Jenny, I don't know. I think $250, it's too little if you're paying other people $960. So I would say you at least need to make the same $960. And also, you're saying that your minimum is 16 guests. What is your maximum? So I'm going to run the numbers with your 250 per person, right? And then I'm going to run the numbers if we just have a 50% profit percentage. 40. Okay, well, that's a lot of people, Jen. All right. So 960 per person. So I'm going to multiply that by 16, right? And then I divide it. So my cost per person is 960 plus 250. That means my profit floor is 1,210. So I cannot sell anything lower than that, or I will not even make my $250 per person. Now, if we do it the other way around, where we have a 50% profit margin, that's a lot more healthy for a business. Your profit floor is 1,920. Now I'm going to show you how much money you're actually making from each one of these scenarios. And you tell me, Jenny, which one feels better? So 250 times 16. So if you get 16 people to sign up, you make $4,000. And now if you get the same amount of people to sign up and you make $960 per person, you make $15,000. Which one feels better? You need to fill 11 more spots. Which one feels better for you, Jenny? And for everyone here in this room? 4,000 or 15,000? Same amount of work, by the way, to get the people to sign up. An offer from $1,100 to $800 doesn't make a difference when people sign up and they say yes. You'll be happy with 4,000 at this point. Yes. Now, what if you increase your prices and now you only need 4 tickets instead of 11 to make those 4,000? Instead of having to get 11 people. Does that sound easier? 4 tickets with a new pricing instead of 11. That is true. It's way easier. Yes. And I'm telling you, someone who is coming to a retreat, $800 will not make a difference in their bank account. Where can you find these people? Great question. That's something a little bit separate. But I want to talk about something here very, very important. Yeah. Retreats are a luxury item. And one of my rules, is your retreat cannot cost less than what the flight ticket would cost for people to come to the retreat. If them flying, getting the car, doing the transformation is cheaper than the cost of your retreat, why would they come? Yeah. I know we see a lot of retreats out there that are $300 or $500 or whatever. They do not make a profit or very little profit. I told you cannot be copying people out there. Jenny, how many hours have you been spending to promote this retreat? How much time have you put into it? The first time we host a retreat, the average amount of hours that we spend running a retreat is 200 hours. So if you're making $4,000, I'm going to divide it by 200 hours. You're making $20 an hour. How does that feel? Are you better off in a 9-to-5 job? Hell no, right, Sheena? Yes. Hell no. Yeah. The math does not lie. Yeah, your government job pays more than that, 100%. And I mean, I can tell you, you're worth more than $20 an hour. Well, it's a process. Yeah, you'll be able to leave your government job if you start making money from your retreats, right? Could you leave your government job if you were making 6 figures from your retreats? Could you? Yes. So no more undercharging. We just claimed it earlier on today. We're in it for the profit. Girl Scouts make more than $20 an hour. I love this. Yes. Okay, ladies, tell me in the chat. How is your profit floor looking? And Jenny, thank you so much for being honest with your numbers. I know it's not easy to share your numbers and, to be put on the spotlight. But this is the only way we grow. When we become aware of what's happening and how we can change it. It's the only way. Okay, this is your 4th year doing the same retreat. You've done with your free time. Well, the price is increasing. You can always change your price to higher price. What is not okay is dropping your price when other people already bought. Because that's not in integrity. But you can always increase your price. You can always increase your price. Yeah, why not? They bought it at an early bird price. Last minute option, right? Last spots. So think about when you buy plane tickets. The closer you buy them to the date, the more expensive they become, don't they? It's the same here. It's the same. It's called tiered pricing. We do cover that inside of like the 6-figure retreat program, tiered pricing, because it's very important to have a tiered pricing strategy. Okay. I want to do a quick check-in here in the room, and I want you to tell me, we covered design for profit, and we are now in price for profit. What is the one thing you already can take away from this masterclass? One thing, charge more. I would say instead of charge more, know your numbers. Know your numbers. Math does not lie. Cannot. Boundaries, yes. What are we telling people when they're like, can you give me a discount? I'm your best friend. No. If you're my friend, you want to support my business. Tiffany, your price is your price. You just reminded me of Sherry Rosenthal. Your price is your price. Transformation need to cost more than the transportation ticket. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna tell you another story. This is one of my favorite stories I have to tell. So one day, I went to my family's retreat center to drop something off. And there was a retreat for couples happening that weekend. And I saw that the psychologist that was running this retreat, and he told me, well, aren't you staying for the retreat? And I said, what are you talking about? This is a retreat for couples. What am I supposed to be doing in this room? And he said, like, no, it's okay because, you need self-love in order to have a partner. So this is going to help you in the future. And I'm like, okay. So I decided to stay. And we had the opening circle for the retreat. And everyone had to say why they were in that room. And it came down to a man. And when it was his turn, he said, because this is cheaper than divorce. That's why he came to that retreat with his wife, because it was cheaper than divorce. Wow, yeah. Now, the retreat went on. They had some tough moments, don't get me wrong. And they still had to work with the psychologist longer term. But guess what? They're still together to this date. They're still together to this date. Do you know the value of that retreat? It's priceless. It is priceless. Think about the divorce lawyers. The average cost for to get divorced in LA is $250,000. Plus the therapist, plus now having 2 households. If they have kids, they have 3 kids, right? Schools, happiness, 2 Christmases, 2 vacations, 2 everything. Yeah. Crazy. So what is that couple willing to pay for if they can avoid divorce? You're not selling vacations. You're selling transformation. And the price point of transformation is so much higher than a vacation. Yes, Dr. April, you need to keep that in mind for sure. How much is it worth it for a couple not to get divorced? And it's not just about the financial piece, it's about the emotional piece as well, right? And of course, staying divorced in a healthy relationship, right? Not creating more, right? Fixing the things. So if you really think about it, if you're pricing based on just your costs of running the retreat, you are competing against Expedia. And let me tell you, they have a massive marketing budget. So it's going to be very hard to compete with Expedia. What if you create your own room? What if you create your own opportunities? What if you create that business model for your retreats that works for you? Not against you, for you. How do you find all the costs like food services? Ooh, that's a conversation for the side thing, but we can have it for sure. You always think not about time investment, but also, can I go another 2-5 years in the same environment? Yes. So I had in my podcast a guest speaker, and she has an app to help you make decisions faster. And she told me that a large decision in your life, like buying a house, getting divorced, takes around 4 years, between 1 to 4 years to make that decision. Think about the cost of that decision. 4 years of thinking, of overthinking, right? 4 years of changing your mind, thinking about this, da da da. It takes decisions, cost you money. Not making a decision costs you more than the cost of actually doing it right now. And that's what happens with most people who come and work with me. They make a decision to work with me because they do not want to wait. They just don't want to wait. They're done waiting. And they know that if they wait, the cost, or they try to learn it on their own, the cost will be so much higher than that. Okay. So as we move from our profit floor, right? Pricing for profit. Is pricing for profit clear? It's a mindset game. It's saying, I am going to make a profit. So profit is a line item. It's not optional. It's part of my spreadsheet. It's not a nice thing to have. A nice thing to have is essential oils that are specially created for your retreat. That's a nice thing to have. Your profit is not a nice thing to have. It's the foundation of a healthy business. Think about, like, hear this again. Having a profit as part of your line items is the foundation for a healthy business. Type a 1 in the chat if you want a healthy business. Lisa, yes, perfect. Sheena, yes. Dr. April, yes. Thane, yes. Okay, who else? I mean, I see people coming in and out of the masterclass. I know it's a long masterclass, but you're getting the foundations for your retreat business model. It's going to make a huge, massive difference. All right, so for all of you who are, okay, Lainey, I got it. This is where I am supposed to be. I need a business model that works for me, not for anyone else, but for my business model. And I want to figure it out. And I want you to help me figure it out. I'm going to drop a link in the chat so you can actually go and book a call for me. This is a complimentary call. So we figure out if your business actually has a potential to have a 6-figure retreat business, or if it doesn't. And if it does, how would that look like based on your life, your dream business, what you want to create, who you want to become? Does that sound good to all of you? So I just dropped the link in the chat. I'm going to give it 2 minutes so you can go book your call. And then we're going to continue to sell for profit. And I'm so excited because I actually have a guest speaker coming into the space for you to learn more about selling like a woman. So fun and exciting times. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 5-minute break. I'm going to put a timer here so we can all take a bathroom break, water break. Let's do 10 minutes break. And so then, our brain can actually process all the information that we've gone through. And then we're going to come back after this. Yeah. So I'm gonna start my timer. So we're having 10-minute break, and I'm gonna play just some fun music for all of you. And if you have any thoughts or questions in the chat, drop them in the chat while we have this quick break. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Music. Be right back, ladies. Let me stop the timer. Ta-da. All right. Yeah. Oh, we lost some people, but congratulations to Sheena, who has booked a call, Lisa Hardy, Thane, and April Brown. So this is your chance to find out the retreat business model that works for you. All right. Sheena, you always think not about time invested, and also how can I go another 2 to 5 years in the same environment? Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Christy. It's a great shift of perspective. All right, so that was about divorce. Yes, I thought so. I thought so. Okay. Now we are gonna move to pillar number 3, sell for profit. So we covered design for profit, and it's not about your itinerary or the location. And then we covered price for profit, the minimum amount you need to charge in order to have a profit with your retreats and your business. And now we're moving to sell for profit, because guess what? You can design beautifully, right? You can have your business model that works for you, and you can price correctly. But if you don't know how to sell, your retreat will stay a secret. Your retreat will stay a secret. You'll be the best kept secret in the industry. And that does not equal sales. That does not equal sales. Yeah. And selling for profit is not about pressuring people to sign up. Sign up now, sign up now, sign up now. It's about connection. It's about the timing, and that you have a clear message that people understand and they're ready to buy. I'm a big advocate of niching for riches. Big advocate. The more specific you are about who you serve and what transformation and results they will get, the easier it will be to sell your retreat. The easier it will be for you to sell your retreat. Take that in. Yeah. I have something that I call cute retreats. Rest, reset, and relax in Bali. Who is that for? Why would someone have an urgency? The people who sign up for those retreats, it's not because of you. It's not really about the relaxing or the resetting. It's usually because they want to go to Bali. And your page looks nice and it feels inspiring. That creates no urgency for people to buy. It's just a nice thing to have. So they can wait for the next one or the next one, or until they find someone where the pricing is more aligned with what they want to spend. Yeah. Selling for profit, it's about helping people see why their transformation starts with you. Why you and not everyone else out there in the market. Now, another thing that for me is very, very important is when we create the copy for our retreats, right? We can be very clear about, the transformation and the results. But if we tell people in a way that they do not understand, they will not buy. My favorite example here is, you're going to get transformation. Transformation on what? On my personal life, on my business, on my work, on my finances? Or when we tell people, you come to the retreat and you're going to be enlightened. Do people talk that way? Do they go talk to their friends and say, hey, by the way, I just want to be enlightened? Have you ever heard anyone use those words? They don't. So when you're selling for profit, having the right messaging makes a massive difference. Massive, massive difference. Yeah. So I want you to tell me in the chat, how do sales feel for you? What is that first thought that comes when you think about, I need to sell? Type it in the chat. What is the first thing that comes up? Nothing. Nothing comes up. It's just like, oh, sales, normal. Or is it exciting? Does it feel icky? How does your body feel when you think about sales? Most people assume people will just be as excited as you are, yes, and say yes. Who is the client? Describe them and how I can appeal to them. I get excited. Your thought is, where do I get the people? That feels stressful. Does that feel a little bit anxious? Like, oof, I have to sell, but where do they come from? Yes. Yeah. And that does not have to be your reality. Because when you have a structure to sell for profit, sales becomes a service. It's an act of service. Because think about all those people who really, really need you. And because you were afraid to sell, they did not get the transformation they needed, or they went and they found it elsewhere. They went and they found it elsewhere. How does that feel? When you see someone who's like, oh, they're very interested, right? They sign up for your lead magnet. Awesome. And then suddenly they're buying something else and they did not sign up for your retreat when you knew this retreat would change their lives. You just knew inside of you. But you took that away from them. So if you're ready to start selling like a CEO instead of a hobby or something nice to do, I want you to type sell equals service in the chat. Because selling is how you sustain your mission. Sell equals service. Yes. Sales equals service. Yes, Lisa. Yes, Dr. April. Yes, Christy. Yes, Sheena. It is a service. It is your responsibility to sell your gifts to the world. People need you. They've been waiting for you. You've done all the trainings. You've prepared. How much money have you invested in coaching programs, trainings, systems, websites, branding, photo shoots? That part, yeah. We invest so much in ourselves and we forget how much everything that we've done in our lives that led you to the moment where you're at today. If you really sat down and put together the amount of money that you've spent in your business and before that to get to where you are today, Could you actually put a number behind it? I can tell you I've spent over $500,000 easily. And that's just trainings and coaches and services that I've paid for. It does not even include the lived experiences that taught me so much. So I want to bring back the Dr. Joe Dispenza story that I mentioned at the beginning, yeah? Because I want you to see this, how like selling for profit and having your six-figure retreat business can look like at scale, right? So I told you we hosted this retreat and we brought Dr. Joe Dispenza as a guest facilitator. So we hired him and we paid him to come, yes? And 72 people came. It was a total sellout. That was the number that we wanted to, right? But his speaker fee was big, yes, very, very big. And most people would have stopped there, grateful to just break even and bring the transformation to these people. But because we had the sales system in place, right? From pricing to continuation offers, the single retreat did not only just create $100,000 in profit, but it generated $3 million in back-end sales. That's the difference between a retreat and a business. You're not selling a trip. I want you to really own that. You're not selling a trip. You are building a transformation engine. You are building a transformation engine. So I'm very happy and excited to bring to you our guest speaker for today, Christy Kendall. She is going to be talking about selling like a woman. Because there's a very specific energy that comes with that flow of selling where it does not feel icky. It does not feel pushy. It does not feel like convincing. So, Christy, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to spotlight you for everyone. And please join me welcoming Christy. And she's going to be talking about Sell Like a Woman. It's one of my favorite talks. And I like to bring her back on stage over and over because if we get to sell like a woman, guess what? Everything feels with ease. Conversions come easy. And we're not struggling to get those clients to sign up for our retreats. Thank you, Christy.
Yes. Hi, ladies. It's so exciting to be here and see all of your faces. Some of you I recognize, and many of you are brand new. I would love for you to come on video and participate in this. This is the most important skill that you can have in your life, your business, your relationships, and everything else. If you can't sell, or if you feel icky when you're selling, you will not reach extraordinary. And I love what Lenny said about it being your responsibility. One of the things I talk about with sales is that it is highest level transformation. The moment of sale, you are not only holding yourself to highest level transformation, you are holding your client or potential client to highest level transformation. That is a lot of responsibility, but it's also a perspective that will help you with your leadership because I look at that and I see a powerful leadership moment. And I want you to put a yes in the chat if you love sales. That's the normal response. Two or three people saying yes. Everybody else, put a yes in the chat if, when it comes to the sale, you get a little, you pull back a little, you hesitate, you kind of avoid it. Maybe when you say the price, you're worried if they can afford it or not. Yep, that's common with women. Maybe you discount yourself or you start convincing them, telling them your 46 modules, your 66 hours of service, and your this is and your that's, and your 49 ebooks. Yep. Well, women sell better than men, The data shows that women outperform men in sales every single time. And we do it because of our natural leadership, the things we naturally want to do, like connection, all the reasons that you're putting on your retreat. Those are the reasons that you naturally sell. All of these other things come from what you believe about yourself and money. And so, what we're going to talk about today, first of all, I want to talk about the retreat business. And how many of you, you can put a one in the chat so I can keep a difference between the ones and the yeses and the question. How many of you got a whoosh or a download on your retreat and you got really excited about it? And you're like, I'm doing this. How many of you, that's how you started with retreats? Lisa, yes. And so, how many of you think that you have this incredibly genius idea and you know you can change lives and you think that you're going to share it and everybody's going to be as excited as you? How many of you? Everyone's just going to jump on board because of this great, amazing experience that you're going to provide for them. Definitely thought that. Yep, Lisa, I have done retreats. I know what it feels like. That is the sell from inspiration mindset, right? The idea drops in, the vision feels alive, you can hardly bear it, and you see the transformation so clearly, and you feel that spark. Like when I share this, everyone is going to want to be there. And so you pour your whole heart into the transformation, into creating this amazing experience, the sessions, the breakthroughs, the identity shift that you know you're going to give them. But here's the part almost no retreat leader ever really thinks about, and that is selling. They assume that because the retreat is powerful, the vision is amazing, and because you care so deeply that women are just going to jump in. But most retreats do not sell out, as you've been discussing through this call. And it's definitely not because the retreat isn't good. It is because the retreat leader never learned how to sell it. So you're at a place here where you're being shown a system that can create ongoing retreats like a business. That's what this call is about. And that means that you have income potential that you don't have to guess, that it is a sure thing. Knowing how to sell brings it full circle. And that is why we partner and do this way, because we know that women are never going to be pushy. I mean, there are salespeople out there. There's one woman that we follow all the time and we love her so much, but she teaches pushy. And that it does work. It works for a lot of people, but it is masculine pressure. And most women in transformation will avoid that at all costs. And it doesn't sell better than selling like a woman from our natural leadership style. So we want to sell in a way that is aligned with how women actually make decisions and the way that retreat leaders naturally be, your natural embodiment of who you are. And once you learn how to sell like a woman, every single thing in your business, every course that you've ever bought, every system that you've ever established, everything will come full circle. Your impact, your income, and the women that you attract. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Have you ever walked into a room and the whole energy shifted? As if every single person, every eye on you was saying, she's the one. Have you ever shared your story and felt the whole room leaning in? Because something in them whispered, she's the one. That's what happens when you're selling from your superpower. And that is exactly what makes high ticket sales and six-figure retreats possible. So the retreat industry is a multi-billion-dollar market. And here's the part that most retreat leaders never fully realize. You only need the teeny, teeny, teeny tiniest fraction of 1%. That would literally be like 0.00008% to create a wildly profitable retreat business. And yet, less than 10% of retreats ever cross six figures. And it's not because retreats are not powerful, they are. We all know that. It is because no one taught retreat leaders how to sell. Less than 15% of retreat leaders ever turn their retreat into a six-figure revenue stream. And we know that's not because you don't have the goods. It's because of sales. Retreat leaders are brilliant at creating transformation. They create healing, breakthroughs, and moments that women and men remember forever. But over 80% struggle to turn their retreat into actual revenue. And it's not just a retreat problem. Only 14% of women entrepreneurs actually ever cross six figures because no one taught us how to sell. And this matters more now than ever for you because there is a massive wealth transition happening, and we need to make sure it's in the right hands. And you create transformation, you create safety, and you create identity shifts. That's probably where that wealth needs to be transferred. But the part that actually creates revenue, the part that turns your retreat into a real business, that's sales. And sales is not luck. How many of you feel the connection to luck when you're selling or filling your retreats? If you notice that it is there, you think you're going to share it, or you hope that you can share it and people will get on board. And so I'm going to show you a skill that you need to have, but we're going to look at it from a different lens. And this is a skill that lets you lead, lets you earn, and you can grow unlimited anytime that you decide. And I'm going to share you just a little quick backstory of me and why I am here with you teaching you sales. My story is I too thought of sales and was like, I can't sell. I don't know how to sell. Nobody's going to buy anything from me. Some of that was that ick, and some of that was justifying myself and discount all the things. And I turned that into an award-winning career in sales. But it started out, I was in school. I was working towards my master's in art therapy. And I love art therapy. I still use it in my retreats today. But there was something going on, that little undercurrent of uncomfort. I knew I wasn't in the right place. And one of my instructors shared a story, and she called it Your Moment of Transformation. And she shared a story about this woman who was a single mom on welfare. She had four kids, and she had gone back to school. She was able to get back to school, and she had been in school, and she was right at the finish line of getting her degree. And that is when we all know, because you're all in transformation, you know that moment when you have to do the hard work. That's the identity shift that's happening. And it's really painful, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's really heavy, and it's really hard. That's what is the moment of transformation. I call that the ring of fire. She shared the story of this woman, and the woman didn't make it through her ring of fire. She quit school. She went back to her comfort zone of her life, of struggle, trying to raise her kids by herself and all of that. And I heard that story and it resonated with me. And I knew all I had to do in that moment was get through that ring of fire. If I could get through that ring of fire, I would be on the other side of it. So that afternoon, I was on the phone and quickly enrolled in design school. And what had prevented me from design school for all those years was sales. I had taken a tour of the design school years before, and the instructor said, you have to be able to sell. If you can't sell, there's no project to design. You have no class or no clients. There's nothing to design. And I had a very fixed mindset and very low self-esteem at that time. I was very young. And I looked at that whole situation externally like, nobody's going to buy anything from me. I don't know how to sell. And I looked at all the women that were there in that room and women just like you. And I was like, they're so beautiful. They have everything. They must be lucky. They must have been born that way. Right? I had this mindset. And so I left completely defeated. And that moment of transformation, when I realized it was a ring of fire and I just had to get to the other side of it, landed me in design school. I was selling design jobs before I ever finished. My first weekend out in the industry after I finished design school, I outsold everyone in the Portland market. I had these corporate offices calling, who is this woman? I proceeded to break income revenue awards. The average designer at that time is still similar. It was $30,000 a year was the average starting income of an interior designer. I hit six figures my first year. I went on that year to win a national sales award of over 2,000 sales reps, top 7% nationwide. I was in a male-dominated aspect of this industry. But here's the thing, even though I did that, I still thought I was running on luck. Every single job, every single sales call, every conversation, if I heard a no, I immediately questioned if my luck was running out. Is this it? Is this the end? And you will hear no's. You will hear a lot of no's in business and in sales, a lot of no's. And so it was emotionally disruptive for me to have this belief that I was running on luck because nobody ever taught me sales. Design school does not teach you sales. Art therapy school does not teach you sales. Nobody teaches you sales. And so I thought I was running on luck. I walk into the office one day and there's this new man there. And he says, I hear a lot about you, Christy. And I'm new and I'm the new sales manager, and everybody starts from ground zero with me. Everybody gets the same opportunity. And I thought that was my moment. The luck ran out. I thought it's over. It's over. But he didn't let that happen. He sat me down. He had all my papers spread out on this table, and he showed me what I was doing. He showed me data and numbers. And he showed me what I was doing really well. And he showed me areas I needed to improve. And it was this whole perspective that there's something behind what I'm doing. There's actually tangible things here. And it was such a huge mindset shift. He showed me intention. He showed me if I just make a couple little shifts, what I can actually create and what I can do for myself. And I took that very seriously. And I started making those changes. And one of the changes that I had to make was a coming to self moment because it was a very masculine process that they required us to do. And all it was, sometimes it's bigger in our head than it really is. All it required me to do is after every sales call, after I sold the job and was leaving, I had to ask the client for additional business. Do you have anybody that needs this service? Do you have anybody who needs this? I had to generate more business from that call. And I looked at that like they just spent large amounts of money. They just already bought something and it felt like the ick. And by then I had coaches and healers and practitioners. I had a lot of people in my life and I did a lot of work. And I realized I wasn't going to do it. I'm a quadruple Taurus. It's not happening. And so what I had to do is I had to go home. I went home and I sat with myself and I took a look at what they really wanted from this situation. And that's when I realized they just want me to generate a certain bit of additional business. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it my way. I can do this. I created a portfolio. I put clients before and after pictures in there with handwritten testimonials, and I started taking that out to every single job. And you know what happened from that? They invited me back. They wanted to be in that portfolio. They wanted other people to see their houses. These were women who just invested in their home and made it look beautiful, and they were proud of it. And one of those jobs invited me back out. When the installers left, it was very late at night. I got there late. She asked me if her sister and her neighbor could come over, and I was like, of course. And I ended up in her home at 11 o'clock at night with five of her sister, a neighbor and sister, five of her neighbors and sister. There's five additional people in that house. I ended up booking calls with them, and I sold every single one of those that week. What happened from this is I doubled everything except for the number of sales calls because I was maxed. I literally couldn't take more of those. Doubled my income, doubled my numbers. I went on that year to win number one in that strategy out of over 2,000 sales reps, 98% of which were men. And what I learned from that is there's no luck in sales. Sales is actually a skill and a strategy. And if I do it from my natural leadership style, I can create unlimited freedom for myself. When you have something to sell and you can sell it, your wealth, you can create anything from that. And that's what I want to teach you today. I did that. I switched that process that they wanted me to do from a masculine strategy to a feminine method. And I beat every other sales rep in the entire nation because I did it like a woman. And so, what I want to give you now, and I want you to get out your pens and paper and I want you to write these down because these are 5 feminine shifts that you can make in your sales process. They're mindset shifts and tangible shifts that you can do and make today. Sales in the entire industry, even women, I'm trying to remember her name, Shelby. There's a woman out there teaching sales. She is cute as a button, powerful as ever, tons of confidence, and she is teaching sales. She teaches them to thousands of people every single day. She's very well known. She does a very, very good job. She teaches masculine strategies for sales. Does it work? Yes. Can you do it better? Yes, if you do it like a woman. And so, even though for decades and still sales is taught through these masculine energy practices, pressure, control, urgency, that is not how women naturally lead. All of those women that she's teaching that to will succeed. They will kill it because women do things extraordinarily, but they will burn out. And that happened to me 7 years after 7 years into this design business, and I couldn't do it anymore. And it's a lot. And you don't have to. Sell like a woman means selling through connection, through your personal confidence in what you do and who you are, and authority, so that your retreat becomes the most aligned place to enroll your next 10 to 50K clients, premium clients. That's where we want to get you, premium clients. And the truth is that you're showing up. You're already leading. You're already creating transformation. But the part that nobody taught you, the part that even retreat leaders rarely think about is selling. And so I'm going to give you these sales shifts, masculine versus feminine energy in sales. And now we don't poo-poo the masculine. We have to have it. It's so important. What you want to look at with this is like a dance. You're going to do the tango, right? And so we love the masculine energy things. It gets us where we need to go. And I do notice women who can shift into masculine energy quickly do very, very well. But you have to do it both. You have to have both. So look at this like a dance. We're going to do the masculine, feminine energy and sales tango. Masculine energy is direct and linear. It is goal focused. It is strategy. It is confidence. It is urgency and control. Feminine energy is responsive and intuitive, emotionally connected. It's storytelling and resonance. It's receptivity and presence. It's listening and nurturing. And selling like a woman means that you lead with strategy and soul. You guide with confidence and connection. You ask clearly and you invite deeply. So I love these sales shifts, and I will share with you my favorites as I get through them. But we just touch on them, but I will share with you at the end how you can get a little deeper into all of these. But I want you to write them down so that we're planting the seed in your brain. Your unconscious mind will start to search for these and fill in what you need to make these shifts. So, number one, presence sells first. This is the authority piece. Your confidence, your energy, your clarity of who you are and what you're doing, walk into the room before you have ever made the offer. That energy, that presence, that authority sells first. So write that down. Presence sells first. Number two, leadership. You never have to chase a client again. Lead. You guide the conversations with confidence and certainty. That is leadership. Number three, sell the outcome, not all the details, not the information, not the 46 hours, the RV jaunt through the forest, nothing. You sell the outcome. People buy the transformation. Focus on the transformation, not the details, not the itinerary, not the list of what's included. Sell the outcome. You are selling transformation. Focus on the transformation that they get. Number four is one of my favorites. Price is a leadership moment. This is that moment of responsibility or highest level transformation that we talk about. Your price communicates structure, belief, clarity, and authority in your offer's value. So in that moment, when somebody says, "How much is it?" and you want to shrink away from that or justify it or explain it or discount it, you get to know and believe that you are going to stand so true and confident to who you are as a woman, as somebody who is invested in herself, her mindset, her knowledge, her education, her business. You have invested in every area and every aspect of your life. Stand so true in that leadership of who you are, knowing that this is your responsibility to hold that person in front of you to highest level transformation. Your price is a leadership moment. And number five, this is one of my favorites, and you will hear me talk about it all the time if you are in our circle. You be a yes girl. You say yes first. If you're not fully and completely a yes to your own offer with certainty before nobody else will. That energy is so loud. You have to say yes to your own self first. If anything's out of alignment in that, they'll feel it. And then you get to be a yes girl for everyone else. If you've studied NLP, you'll already know this. If not, it's one of the most important and powerful pieces. When you are making an offer or you are selling, the very first thing that happens is what everyone else in the room will do. It's people lead or people follow the leader, right? You need the yes girls in the room saying, "Yes, I'm in. Yes, yes, yes." Be a yes girl. Even if you're somewhere and even if you're not gonna, you don't want to buy it maybe, or you need some think about it, you're at least yes on the thinking about it. You're yes on that she's doing a good job up there. Yes on you believe in what she did. Now, if you're fully and completely out of alignment, then just be quiet. Let her have her moment. But be a yes girl. For all the other women, be the yes girl. So these five shifts make selling inside of your retreat, selling out your retreat, selling in general, feel natural because you're already doing the part that matters most. You are creating transformation. And now you simply get to lead the sale the same way that you lead everything else in your life with feminine presence, belief, emotional intelligence, and you. Now, I have a quiz that you can take, and I will share with you at the end how you can access the quiz and get this activation and all of those things. But I want to first share with you these superpowers that I'm telling you about. These are the archetypes. There are three archetypes. You will notice as I go through each one of those three that one of them stands out the most for you. This is your sales superpower. This is your natural leadership style and how people will buy from you the most authentically, naturally. Those questions that I asked in the beginning. Have you ever walked in a room and felt the whole energy shift and everybody was already or coming up to you in the room? Oh my gosh, I just had to talk to you. Or, oh, you have such a radiance, some sort of compliment, and you're always getting that. I'm going to share with you which one that is. Visionaries, storytellers. So notice which one you are. You have to be all of them, but one of them will supersede. One of them will be a superpower. So just notice, I'm going to give you the superpower qualities and the shadows. And I'm only going to give a couple just because of time, a couple of little points on each one. But I want you to listen for which one is your natural like leadership one. So the first one that we're going to talk about is the visionary leader. This is a woman who doesn't just sell, she sparks movements. The visionary leader sees the future before anybody else. She's driven by purpose and fueled by all of the possibilities. She doesn't just build businesses, she builds movements. This is a woman who I call them the connectors. They have the communities and they mass communities is kind of how I see it. Her power lies in articulating a bold mission and inviting others to rise into it. She naturally attracts clients who want her to be a part of something bigger. They want to be a part of that. This is a woman whose certainty is contagious, and her zone of genius is casting vision and speaking life into other people's dreams. You will know that you're a visionary leader if you share a sentence with somebody and it changes them and they're using that and they already transitioned, right? Like, or they're using your language really quickly or any of those kind of things, visionary leaders. Now, here's what happens often with women who are visionary leaders. You stay in inspiration and you avoid structure. Structure for a visionary feels really restrictive or boring. You fear like too big, too bold, too much. If you ever felt like that, I'm too much, and you pull yourself down, you shrink yourself, that's a visionary leader. Over editing yourself, avoiding the ask, watching your message inspire, but nothing comes of it for you. This leads to burnout, overgiving, and misalignment. So, your transformational shift that you can walk away with today is knowing that your structure, any structure that you build, because you are in a class right now that's teaching the six-figure retreat system. So if you notice yourself resisting any of it or afraid of any of it, you're probably a visionary leader. Just know that the structure does not cage it. It doesn't cage your vision. It amplifies the fire. When you ground your vision into a focused offer, a strategic container, everything clicks for you. Sales becomes the bridge between your vision and the lives that you are meant to change. You never have to tone yourself down again. You need to turn it all the way on. So strategies, sales strategies that work really well for you are summits, retreats, you're in the right spot, and stages. So get on stages, movement-based launches, high impact, high ticket programs. So high ticket retreats will do very well with you, and purpose-led talks with clear call to actions. But what you need for some of your sales systems, crystal clear messaging, offer clarity and pricing strategy, a stage ready brand presence, And stages are anywhere you are. Your social media, the room that you walk into, a summit, or a literal stage. You need feminine boundaries, strategic scaffolding that channels your vision. So those are what you need. And I'm going to give you an affirmation that you can walk away with today. So write this down. And everybody needs all of these. You will just have one that's your superpower. So your core affirmation is, I never have to shrink or dim myself. I direct my fire. My vision is the offer. So you will move from ungrounded dreamer to activated, visible, well-paid visionary leader. Magnetic storyteller. And Lenny, how are we doing on time?
You're good.
Okay. Magnetic storyteller. These are the magnetic storyteller in the transformational world is probably that's what most of you are, is the magnetic storyteller because there's such a connection to the connection piece and how you connect and how you create transformation. This is a woman whose words do not just inspire, they convert. The magnetic storyteller leads with emotion, authenticity, and resonance. Her superpower is how she makes people feel. She builds trust faster than any pitch ever will. Your vulnerability becomes your value. Your story becomes the bridge between your audience's pain and their potential, their possibilities. That's that transformation. You, as a storyteller, you don't force connection. It's like you create belonging. Yet, the shadow pattern, when it comes to sales, is you hide from the ask. The hiding from, how many of you avoid giving your price? How many of you avoid that piece of the conversation altogether? Or you get a little worried about how to do it?
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, put a one. Shadow pattern, you fear rejection because your work is so deeply personal. You may find yourself oversharing without direction. So you're oversharing, but there's no direct focus on the sale. Visibility feels inconsistent because you wait for inspiration. How many of you wait for inspiration before you make a move? That is a typical storyteller, magnetic storyteller move. So often, as a storyteller, you often have the audience, but not the sale. So if you have a lot of people, oh my God, and they're not buying, that's this. So your transformational shift that you get to make for yourself is your story is not a detour, it is the strategy. So think of it like you're inviting them into the next chapter. And if you don't invite them into the next chapter, they're stuck at that chapter forever. But your story must meet structure in order to do that. So the shift is from expressive to effective, from sharing to selling, from vulnerability to value. Selling becomes the next chapter of her story. So your strategies that do really well for your business is story-based launches, DMs. Now we're not talking cold, gross DMs. We're talking connected DMs, emotional connection, one-to-one conversations. So don't be afraid of those. Nurture-driven funnels. Speaking from the wound, you will often hear Lenny and I talk about don't do that. You can do it with structure and strategy because it ends with a win for you. And what you need right now to make these shifts is and to sell like a woman and to create your six-figure retreat system, you need messaging structure. The headline, call to action, offer stack, that messaging structure. Confidence to ask for the sale, visibility rhythm, No more hiding. Systems that turn your story into a sale, and clarity in your narrative arc. You're a storyteller. So get clear in that narrative arc that lands you the audience and the sale. So the core affirmation for you today, write this down. My voice is my invitation. My story moves people and it moves the sale. So you will move from hesitant sharer to empowered storyteller to consistent, high converting, feminine seller. Put a 1 in the chat if you're resonating with the visionary leader. Put a 2 in the chat if you're resonating with magnetic storyteller. And I'm going to start in with the radiant authority. You are the woman whose presence sells before you ever say a word. If you're the woman that walks in the room and the energy shifts, you're radiant authority. You stand out in the rooms, you're radiant authority. Your core identity is presence personified. This is a woman who leads with groundedness, with elegance, and certainty. People trust you instantly. And it has nothing to do with what you do. It is because of who you are. Your radiance. Your calm confidence creates safety, clarity, and direction. Premium clients are super drawn to your energy long before you ever make an offer. And yet, you often feel a deep need to prove yourself. You hide behind perfectionism. You hide behind professionalism. You undercharge. You overdeliver. And you avoid vulnerability. Oftentimes, the radiant authority fears being misunderstood. So she works harder instead of allowing herself to receive. And all that effort becomes an armor. And your transformational shift for you, your energy is already enough. You don't need more effort. You need deeper embodiment. The shift is from proving to receiving, from effort to grace, from performing to being. You become the invitation. And for you, as a radiant authority, your sales strategies that work really, really well for you in your business and your retreats is premium high ticket offers, presence first branding, direct high integrity sales conversations, and visual authority. Because we're in the online space so much. So your photos, your speaker reels, your stage presence has to translate on the online space. It is the most important piece for you. So what you need premium pricing confidence. You need energetic boundaries. You need embodied messaging. You got to get those support systems, CRM, automations, a team. You need brand expression that mirrors your level. So your core affirmation that you can take home, write this down. I don't need to convince. I just need to be. My presence leads. So your transformational outcome from polished but proving to embodied and effortless to magnetic premium authority. So now you have met the visionary, the storyteller. Put number 3 if you resonate with the authority, radiant authority. Visionary, storyteller, radiant authority. Put those in the chat. Now you've been introduced to these. You're resonating with 1 or 2 or 3 of them. One of these is your sales identity. And when you sell from that identity in with your retreat, your business, any of that, you never have to push, you never have to chase, you never have to force. Your audience will already feel you. They will already trust you, and your audience will rise with you. And that is why the highest ticket clients come from retreats, because the transformation is already happening in real time. And so, sales is a skill, and no one has taught women how to do it at the level you lead. Today, you saw what selling like a woman actually looks like: presence, authority, and never pressure. You have identified your sales archetype, or you're processing in your mind to do so that you can stop forcing a style that does not fit you. So if you want to execute this and do it consistently in real conversations, there is a training. Sell Like a Woman, the high ticket activation, is a live activation class. And in this class, we are going to go into naming your price without explaining, holding the room after the ask, leading the decision, and how to enroll premium clients with your authority. And because you're in Lenny's class today, you get to have it for free. The code is retreat, and that will get you into the class, so you don't have to pay for it. So who here today wants to fill your retreats, your business offers, your anything that you're selling, and you want to do it how women do it best? This is a Sell Like a Woman activation where you learn exactly how to sell using your natural leadership style. You will up level to premium audience, and because you're here, you get it complimentary. And I'm going to just give you 4 little bullet points. If you want to discover the language, somebody in here said, where do you find them? It starts with not only your presence and your authority, but the language that you're naturally using, language that matches your archetype, your natural leadership style. How to lead sales conversations and never have to worry about pressure or any of the icks, just being you. And how to enroll high ticket premium clients inside of your retreat. How to carry feminine leadership into every sales moment so that it feels natural, it feels intuitive, and it results in clients, revenue, opportunities, and growth. And how to sell premium offers without ever chasing or convincing or worrying about the ick. This masterclass will change the way you sell, the way you sell. And the way that you lead your retreat will also change. And it is the most beautiful thing. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you guys can sign up for that class. It is tomorrow. And if you can't make it tomorrow, sign up anyway, and I'll add you to the next one. Lenny's my link person. She always has my links. Okay, I have it.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for coming and sharing all your knowledge with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
And I mean, it's always a pleasure to have this as part of the Sold Out and Profitable Retreats Masterclass. Yay! So
I love
make
teaching
sure you
this.
go sign up. You have the code retreat. So the class is for free for you. So that's a gift from Christy to all of you. Because when you learn how to sell like a woman, everything changes. everything changes. Thank you so much, Christy. And while you all do that, I'm just gonna tell you a very quick story. And I want you to use this as an example for your retreat business, because one of the things that happens in each single masterclass, there's always a recurring question that shows up, but it's not always the same. So usually as we go through the masterclass and I see it popping up in and out, right? Then we learn a little bit more and go deeper a little bit into that topic as well. So what I saw is, where do I find them? Right? That's this question that I kept seeing over and over again throughout the chats. That's why we always invite you to interact, because this is a personalized masterclass for all of you, because your business is meant to be a representation of who you are. It's personalized to you. So where do I find these people? And I'm going to tell you, I ran this masterclass very similar to, well, it was more in a challenge setting a couple of years ago. And there was this woman, Elsa, and she had been running retreats for a while. So similar to you, Lisa, running retreats for a while, but then suddenly it became hard for her to sell those retreats. So we were going in the challenges like, well, Lainey, what can I do to get more clients, right? Like, where do I find them? What's going on? Why was it working before and now it's not? And it's mainly because industry changes. It also has to do because you as a retreat leader, as a coach, as a therapist, you also change. So the audience that maybe was aligned to you a couple of years before does not resonate with you anymore, because you're so much more far away than what you were when you put your retreat the first time. So our businesses are living organisms. Yeah. I think the code might be retreats in plural.
With an S. Okay, yeah, I'm looking right now.
Yeah. Yes, retreats. Okay, perfect. So our businesses are living organisms, and they go through phases like all of us do. It goes from baby, where you need to feed it all the time, right? A baby cannot survive on its own. Then it becomes a toddler. It's kind of walking, crawling, falling into places, discovering what do you like, what you don't like. Right? And then it goes and it becomes a teenager, and it starts having tantrums. This is not working for me anymore. I can't do this. I won't accept that, right? The rebellious phase of our business. And then it becomes a young adult. Systems come into place. Everything starts making more sense. They're still exploring, but we're building structure and systems, right? We're getting all the knowledge. We're eager to learn more things. And then it goes to adulthood. And that's where we have the rinse and repeat, right? The systems are in place. We've done it over and over again, that then it's working on its own. You have the knowledge, you have the systems, you have the passion, you have the purpose. Type a yes in the chat if that resonates with how has been your business journey for you so far. And maybe even go deeper and ask yourself, in which era of my business am I? Am I in the baby phase, the toddler? Am I a teenager, young adult, or adult? Any thoughts here? In these days in the room, so you can be honest with yourselves and with us. Young child, Dr. April, okay. Saying the code is retreats with an S at the end. Anyone else? Where are you at? Where is your business? What's the stage of your business? While you think about that, I'll go back to the story with Elsa in this challenge. Tammy Jarvis, young child. This is a perfect time to build your six-figure retreat business. When you're in the young child stage, it's the best time because you're building in the systems. So why not bring retreats into your system already? And then you can grow faster and get to the adulthood of your business. Because funny enough, even though it goes through the same stages of a human, it does not mean you need to stay 15 years until you get to become a teenager or 30 until you're not longer a young adult. We can squeeze time. It's a choice. It is a choice. All right. So going back to the story about Elsa, right? So she was like, okay, my retreats were working and they're not working anymore. What's going on? So definitely her clientele shifted a little bit. Yeah. So I told her a very simple exercise that I'm going to give to all of you. And before I give it to you, I'm going to tell you that she went and she applied it. And she made $36,000 more in profit from this single shift in her business. So what I asked them to do was to write a wish list of that ideal client, those people who wanted and were perfect to come to her retreat. A wish list. Because we get to make wishes. We get to dream. And she was like, well, 25 names, that's easy. So I told her, you know what? Go higher. I want you to write a list of 50 people that you would really want in your retreat because you can serve them. And guess what? A couple of months later, she messaged me and she said, Lainey, this worked. One woman from my list reached out to me and said, I have 9 women who would really love to come to your retreat. Would you come to my house and tell us about the retreat? So she went and she walked through the door and she looked at all this 9 women. Guess what? The 9 women were on her list. Those 9 women, she put on her list of 50 people she really wished that they would come to her retreat. In one room. Guess what? They all signed up to come to her retreat. It really makes me like want to cry, and I'm not a crier, okay? Because anything is possible. She sold in one afternoon $36,000 from one shift in her business. And this is what I do for my clients. You heard the different archetypes. I'm a visionary leader. So I hold the vision for my clients. And I usually get to see beyond what they can even see as possibilities for them and the transformation that they're doing for people's lives, the lives that they're changing, how much they're supposed to actually be charging. And it just happened a couple of months ago. Brent signed up to work with me. It took him a couple of months to figure out that, doing it alone takes longer. He was like, okay, I'm ready. Where do I pay? Sign me up for this. And we did one shift in his business. He had a retreat. He was $6,000 in the red. We did one shift. In 1 week, he made $17,000. Type a yes in the chat if that's the life that you want to live, where that's your normal, where you walk into a room and 9 women immediately sign up to come to your retreats, where you do one shift in your business and then you have $36,000 more in your bank account. If it was possible for them, it is possible for you. As simple as that. They're not that different. They're not unique stars that no one else can be. They do not have thousands of followers on their Instagram. But what they do have is a system that allows them to share their passion, to create transformation, to support their clients in the highest level possible. One of the things that people do not talk about is one of the biggest problems that happens after the sale. It's the follow through. It's actually delivering what you promised. And I'll just tell you that inside of my courses, we talk about that because my specialty is loyalty marketing. So how do people come back over and over again? Because loyalty marketing is customer relationship management, right? It's getting clients to come back. That's it. Simple. And loyal customers spend 67% more than non-loyal customers. But guess what? No one teaches you that because everyone else is going for the visibility, the shiny stuff. Sold out retreat. Who cares if I made money? It's about sharing numbers on social media. Who cares about that, honestly, if you cannot deliver? Eventually, people will find out. You need to walk the talk. So if you're creating deeply transformational retreats, you need to treat them like a business. You need to give them the respect that they deserve and give yourself the respect that you deserve. How many hours have you spent getting ready for this day? How many hours? How many days? How many weeks? How many years? You've been preparing for today, for this moment where you say, I'm it. I am it. I get to do it. And I don't have to do it alone. Take advantage of me. I've spent hundreds of hours doing this. I started working at events when I was 15 years old. By age 20, I had my first catering business. Take advantage of 18 years of knowledge so you don't have to learn it on your own. Cross that bridge faster. It is a choice. Can you do it alone? 100%. Will it very, very likely take you longer and you'll have to go learn the mistakes on your own? Probably. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Again, everything in life is about choices. And like I told you at the beginning, the cost of waiting is so much higher than the cost of deciding. So let's recap our 3 pillars because we do have a little bit more that we need to cover in our masterclass today. But we are getting to the good part where all the pieces of, remember that triangle, right? I'm going to share it with you again so you can see it, is coming full circle. So we did design for profit, right? Building a business structure that serves you. We moved to price for profit, your profit floor. You need to have a profit in your business if you want to keep in your business, right? If you want to keep the business alive. And then we did sell for profit. And Christy taught us how to sell like a woman, so it feels great. So you don't feel like you need to convince anyone. And then we repeat it over again. We rinse and repeat. We create a business model that is replicable. When I work with my clients, the first thing that we do is we think, well, if I wanted to sell this business, does not mean that I have to sell it. But if I wanted to build this business, sell this business at some point, how would I need to build my business so it could be sellable? Okay, so these are the 3 pillars for the 6-figure retreat system. And guess what? It makes it inevitable and inevitable. Yes, when you have these 3 pillars, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And again, you get to choose when. Do you want to take the slow path or do you want to go fast? 2026 is all about speed. It's the year of the horse. What's the energy of a horse? A horse needs to gallop. It's part of its nature. So everything is going to move so much faster this year. So it's a choice. Do you get on the boat or on the horse, or do you walk beside it? So if you're starting to see, right, how this system could work for you, and if you're ready to map out your numbers, your pricing, and your sales, I want to invite you to the next step officially. If you have not, book a 6-figure retreat strategy call with me. On that call, we're going to identify your profit gaps. We're going to talk about your pricing, so it's clearly priced. And we're going to design your first 6-figure retreat roadmap. This call is your bridge from vision to structure. Because the sooner you get that clarity, the sooner your retreat will start working for you. Yeah. It will start working for you. Doesn't that sound amazing? Every piece of your business coming together. Now, of course, in this call, once we have it, I'll see if your business has a potential for a 6-figure retreat business. And if it does, I will tell you the next steps you need to take. And those steps might include working with me. Yeah. So just know this is the process of the call, but you're going to come out with a business model that is aligned to you. So now you have got the path, the design, the pricing, and the sales structure. And now I'm going to show you proof of how retreat leaders who use these exact pillars generate between 25, 50K, and 100K profits. And some of them do it within months of working with me. So you've seen the framework, right? Design, price, and sell for profit. Thank you, Karen. See you soon. But because when you see the numbers and hear the stories, I want you to realize something, that this is not theory, it's repetition. The results are consistent and they can be yours too. So you met Matt earlier, right? The retreat leader who was paying his facilitators more than himself, right? So he had passion, purpose, full rooms. And his accountant came and told him the truth. He'd made everyone else wealthy but himself. So when we rebuilt his system with clear margins and full sales campaigns, his next retreat did not just sell out, it sold out under a week. He paid himself first, covered his team fairly, and walked away with a 26K profit from one retreat. And he messaged me after and said, I feel like a real business owner. That's what structure creates: confidence and control. And structure does not kill your creative flow. Now, the data shows that the global wellness retreat market is worth over $225 billion, and is projected to hit 360 billion by 2029. This is the global wellness retreat market, not wellness tourism, wellness retreats. Yeah. So again, I ask you, do you want a slice of that pie? 50% of your two bookings come from repeat guests and referrals if you learn how to do loyalty marketing like I teach you. So then you don't have to be looking over and over again for new guests. Doesn't that sound exciting? Okay. And of course, one of my favorite examples, because it shows you the possibilities, right? The big vision is a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat we hosted. 72 people in one room, every seat filled. And between his speaker fees and production, most people would have been thrilled to just break even. But with the six-figure retreat business, running profit design, premium pricing, and post-retreat sales, that event brought over 100K in profit and created $3 million in back-end sales. That single event proved what I always say. Transformation and profit are not opposites. They are partners. Type a yes in the chat if you now believe that transformation and profit are not opposites. Yes, Lisa, perfect. Anyone else? Yes, Abby, perfect. Danica, yes. Thane, yes. We once built a private retreat in just 10 days, and we made $12,000 in profit. I want to tell you that proves that time is not the issue, it's the structure. $12,000 in 10 days from a private retreat after paying every single thing. Even when I was working at Marriott's corporate office, every department had to book us like an outside vendor. And we used to do brand activations and events and corporate retreats, right? Because retreats are business investments. They're not favors. You're not doing a favor to people. So what do all these stories have in common? Clear structure, precise pricing, and consistent sales. And one more thing, they decided to treat the retreat like a business. You're not just a retreat leader. You are a retreat CEO. That's the identity shift that changes everything. And if you're sitting there thinking, I can see myself in these stories, then this is your moment. Book the strategy call. Let's map your revenue goal for the next 12 months. Identify your profit gaps and outline your first 25 to 100K retreat plan. And guess what? The session is free. I usually charge $1,000 for a session with me. And you get it for free because you've been here with me for all this time learning about retreats and sharing my passion to run retreats like a business. And that's great. And of course, this is very, very personalized to you. All right. You've seen the possibility. You have learned the path. And now you have seen the proof. The final step is deciding. Because the decision is where your transformation starts. So let's move into the final stage together. Take a deep breath with me. Just inhale and exhale and come back to this room. Thank you, Danica. I truly believe in this. So it's part of my cells. You've seen the possibility. You've seen the path, right? And you've seen the proof. For me, something I love saying is, if someone else can do it, so can I. And the only question left is, are you ready to stop guessing and start building your six-figure retreat business? Because this is where we go from dreaming to deciding. Most retreat leaders stay stuck because they treat retreats like projects instead of profit systems. And when I mean projects, it means they treat it like a single separate entity of their business. They host one, they hope it works, and they start over every single time. They underprice, they over-deliver, and they tell themselves it's for love. But love is not opposite of profit. Profit is what allows love to last. It's what keeps your message alive, your business sustainable, and your transformation available to more people. So let me tell you about Christine. Her retreats were packed, right? She had a wait list and a loyal community, but she was exhausted. She was barely breaking even. And after each retreat, she would tell herself, I'll rest when it's over. The truth is that she was building transformation for everyone but herself. Does that resonate? You're helping everyone else before you even take care of you. Think about when you get on a plane. What did they tell you about the air masks? Put yours on first so you can help others. This is exactly the same. We built her retreat strategy using this exact same system that I've been showing you today. Zero pricing, pre-launch funnels, structure sales. And her next retreat profited $27,000. And more importantly, she took an entire week off afterward, fully paid. That's what happens when you run your retreats like a business. You stop surviving and start scaling with ease. So here's your invitation. If you know you're meant to build a six-figure retreat business that sustains your mission, this is your next step. It's called the six-figure retreat system that we've been learning today. And it's mentorship, where we design, price, and sell your retreats using the same system you just learned today, but you get it personalized for you. We deep dive into revenue design, pricing strategy, and recurring marketing campaigns. You learn the system, you master the process, and you refine your next retreat. You get unstuck because you get real-time feedback and accountability. And we have some amazing experts, just like Christy, talking about public relations, partnerships, visibility, the sexy extras that help you scale your brand. And my favorite is you get the done for you business system. You get everything. Retreat sales pages, landing pages, thank you pages, emails, automations, terms and conditions, privacy policies, campaign calendars, all of it built inside your CRM. And you get a bonus training, the retreat blueprint, that teaches you how to get the logistics in order, the names, and the audience design. It's literally the entire system, the same one I use for every six-figure retreat I plan or sell. And because you've been on this call and you booked your call, know that you will have a special price that is only available for those of you who were here live with me today. So go ahead and make sure you book the call, because this special price, it's only available if you come and book a call from this masterclass. I can just tell you that one retreat will pay for the program and more. And because I want to reward decisive women, right? If you book your call and decide to join within this window, you will also get quarterly private check-in calls with me. These are one-on-one strategy sessions where I personally review your pricing, campaigns, and profit goals every quarter. This is how I make sure you don't just learn it, you implement it. And today you're not deciding whether or not you want to host retreats. You already know that. You're deciding what kind of retreat leader you want to be. The one who hopes it works or the one who knows it will. This is not about the money investment. It's about securing a system that can generate over $100,000 for you in the next 12 months. It's about becoming the CEO of your retreat business. So here's your decision moment. It's yours. We always have a choice, yes or no. So if you say yes, let's make this the year your retreats stop being passion projects and start becoming six-figure businesses. And I know we have already some calls booked, so I'm very, very excited to be able to talk to all of you. And this call will save you months of guessing and years of undercharging. 1 year could cover your whole year of profit if you wanted to. And if you can afford to run an unprofitable retreat, you can afford to fix it. Don't see this as a business, as an expense. It's your business infrastructure. And whether you've hosted one retreat or 15, this is about creating a system that scales for you. The method works no matter where you're starting. So don't let overthinking cost you another season of guesting, right? So anyway, here's what I know. The women who decide quickly, not impulsively, quickly, right? But intuitively, are the ones who build momentum. You do not need to know how it will all unfold. We do not have to have the whole vision. I hold the vision for you. You just need to decide that you're ready to stop doing this alone. The system is ready. The support is ready. The only thing missing right now is your decision. So if this is your next step, book the call and let's build your six-figure retreat business together. Thank you so much for being here. And I would love to wrap up this session just asking you to put in the chat the one thing that you can take away with you from today. Profit keeps my message alive and my business sustainable. Love it, Lisa. I can't wait to talk to you. I think we have a call. Is it tomorrow or next week? I know we have Sheena is having a conversation today. And Lisa, I saw you somewhere here. Tomorrow, perfect. Ooh. Let me send you a message, Lisa, on the side. Anyone else? Any thoughts? I learned how important it is to have feminine presence. Love it, Tammy. Thank you. Yes, Thane, I saw you, Thane. Thank you for booking your call. Thane, 21st of January. And Lisa, I have some time today, and tomorrow, I don't know, for some reason it overbooked with another time. So are you able to just do the hour after? Well, actually 12 p.m. Pacific time. EST, it's that 5:30. Yes. Would that work for you, Lisa? And I can move you to today. Perfect. Amazing. That is great. I sent the update. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to see some familiar faces and some new faces today. And I am excited for all of you who decided to take the next step and have a conversation with me. And for all of you who don't, stay in touch. Can't wait to see what happens with your retreat businesses.